Hey everybody, welcome back to the Western Southerner YouTube channel. I'm going to give you a 20,000 mile review on this remanufactured Street Smart transmission for my Chevy Silverado. 248, 414, 248, 414. $11 months ago and about 20,000 miles ago, I put a remanufactured Street Smart transmission in a 2010 Silverado. It's a 6L90 transmission. Transmission's working fine. I'm really happy with it, and it's good to go. You can see the mileage right here, 228, 714. That's when the transmission started slipping. Some light towing with it, although I did tow this giant Arctic Fox camper over a huge mountain pass one time. Otherwise, it's like pulling a small boat trailer, things along those lines. If that's all you want to hear, that's fine, but I'll go into some of the details around the reason why I got that transmission and the process. Okay, so traditionally, I have always been told to kind of avoid the remanufactured transmissions or rebuilt transmissions. So I did a little bit of research though, and when I compared the cost, the warranty, and compared to like buying a new truck, it just kind of made sense for me. So I have a 2010 Chevy Silverado, and I bought that truck with about 60,000 miles on it. At 228,000 miles, the transmission started slipping in first gear. So I actually drove it to kind of a generic transmission shop, and then I found a shop that did just transmission work and went with them. An important piece, you want a transmission shop to do transmission work. I highly recommend that. So nowadays there's a couple companies that do these remanufactured transmissions. One is called Powertrain Products, another one's called Street Smart Transmission. My understanding of this is like Powertrain Products does like engines and transmissions and all kinds of stuff, and it's a pretty good operation. The Street Smart Transmissions, I think they focus mainly on transmissions. That's the company that I worked with dealt with. So a whole packet of information here. So the reason why I chose to do this is because I bought the truck with 60,000 miles on it. I did a lot of the maintenance, a whole lot of oil changes religiously, and for the most part, knock on wood, the engine seems to be in really good condition. The rest of the truck's in pretty decent condition. Changed the fluids in the drivetrain, and so it just made sense for me to put this transmission in there and continue driving the truck. I do a lot of highway mile driving, and I also do a lot of rough road driving, in the mountains and whatnot. I don't do a whole lot of around town driving. As far as the process goes, I have to actually buy the transmission from Street Smart and then have it delivered to the shop. I did this, sitting with them across the table at the shop, and they actually made the phone call, and I just basically gave them, my card, and they told them the card and punched it in, and then the transmission was delivered to their shop. They also pick the core up afterwards. Important things too, if you get one of these transmissions put in, is that you use the transmission fluid that they send along with the unit. In my case, it was Pennzoil transmission fluid. The reason why you use the transmission fluid that they send is so that your warranty is more likely to be validated if you have any issues. And the shop that I use, basically he said, if there's any problems, his goal was to just get a new unit and put a whole new unit in. Trying to diagnose an issue or fix an issue with a remanufactured transmission, already put in a car, that seems like a nightmare in my opinion, and I think that I had a pretty good shop and he felt the same way. Another pointer is, and this guy, the transmission shop that I worked with recommended it, go ahead and do your rear main seal when they have that transmission out. That might not always be an option, but if it is, go for it. Another piece to know is that after they install the transmission, they have to do what's called flashing the vehicle. Now I was lucky enough to have a guy who could flash the vehicle in-house. Otherwise, you have to have it taken to a dealership. If you've got a shop that can flash the vehicle in-house, that's the best. Okay, so here's a cost breakdown. The transmission itself was for a 2010 Silverado. It's a 6L80 transmission. I think I said 6L90 earlier, but this is a 6L80, and it is $2,806 for the unit. That includes delivery and pickup of the core, and the core goes with them. And then the labor is $1,820. That includes installation and flashing the vehicle. So the grand total was $4,626 for that whole new unit. That included transmission fluid as well. You know, I was pretty fortunate. The guy I work with said that he did like, 65 or 70 transmissions the year before. He was just having them shipped in from the Street Smart company, throwing them up in there, taking the old ones out, shipping the old ones down the road. I mean, he had a real, kind of dialed in operation, and that's kind of all he did, right? The way he said it to me was, he said, if you want to get back surgery, you go see a back surgeon, and transmission work is kind of like that. And I would agree with that as well. Okay, so, the warranty for this is 3-year unlimited mile warranty. It says it right here. I've already gotten 20,000 miles out of the unit in 11 months technically, so I'm doing pretty good with that. At this point, I don't really anticipate, again, knock on wood, I don't anticipate having any problems. Certainly something could come up, but everything's been working great otherwise. When I pull a trailer, if I've got a snowmobile in the back of my truck, I do use the tow haul button that's on the end of the gear shifter. That's super important because that increases the line pressure and just makes everything tighter in that transmission. If you hit your tow haul button and it doesn't work, take off your steering column. There's a small orange wire that gets rubbed in half. Happened with mine. I had to repair it, but make sure you use that tow haul button. So it does take about 2 or 3 weeks to put a unit like this in. I was actually going on a vacation, so I just left it with him for a while, and he had some time to work on it. But plan on your truck being in the shop for a couple weeks. Basically, he's got to take half the damn thing apart, and put it back together. So it's tough work. I hope this is helpful to some folks. I googled Street Smart transmission reviews, didn't find very much online at all. But I've been happy so far. I can't complain. Hit like and subscribe if this is a helpful video, and take care, everybody. Thanks.